What's up, guys? Jeremy Clark here, Premium Tier Futures Discord, and we're here with Eli, and going to discuss the trades today. So, hi. It's been a minute. It's good to be back. I had all of my equipment was in disarray. I had to add my microphone back in and reboot the computer a couple times, get the sound card working, but we are good to go now.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. I'm just going to kind of back up a little bit here. You were saying that you went for the bounce and it failed on you. I'm trying to see if I can find that on my chart here. About what time day was that?
I mean, my big loss was about 7 or 10 Eastern.
Okay, so same exact area that I got caught in, actually. Just pulling this over here. Where to go? Yeah, so this 7 o'clock, 10 Eastern madness.
Yeah.
There was a bounce that failed, and do you know how many trades you took in that mess?
Let's see. I took 2. So I had one initial loss right at just above 5,600. 5,600 was one of my main levels.
And yeah, so it seemed like a magnet level there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got good volume. So I got about 10 points my way after I entered. On the pullback, I got more buy volume, so I added in, doubled my position, which I'm still only trading half size right now because of the volatility. Wasn't terrible, but added in, and then just the bottom just dropped out. Took out my stop and then went almost 30 points.
Oof.
Yeah, that was a rough one, but still is I mean, according to my rules, it was well traded, well executed, so
yeah,
can't be upset about it.
Yeah, I hear you. So you're saying this little pullback right here, where it dipped down to 5,600.
And yours isn't showing the wick, but went all the way to the new lows right there.
Yeah, there was some crazy wicks. I'm just looking to see if I have that on Trading View here.
I took a couple of smaller losses before that, had a bullish bias after the CPI. Looks like we were getting volume off the open.
Yeah, CPI looked, really bullish. I mean, look at that opening candle.
Mm-hmm.
But it did hit the outer third VWAP, which was usually a mean reversion signal, and we dropped down to VWAP and value area high, and when it tested under, it kept going lower. So we did a range traverse all the way through the value area, hit VPOC and value area low, and right about there, 55.65 value area low was when it turned around, held VPOC, and now we're headed almost back up to VWAP once more. So that's been quite a round trip, actually. I wonder if it'll do a full round trip in both directions. Revisit the high.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what happens here around 56.05 or so.
Yeah, one thing I've been noticing, on these news days, when the news candle is really bullish, and then it drops off, it's almost like it's signaling bullishness. It's just got to revert first, and we're definitely getting that like stair stepping higher. Um, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not trying to predict the market here because I don't really know what's going to happen. But it's just something I've noticed. It's like you get a bullish candle off the news and you think, oh, it's a bullish day, and it may become one. Much later. I think we had that happen yesterday. I think
Yeah.
you were joking around with me, like I think I said something about oh well, that's I guess we're just bearish today or something like that, and then it flipped, right? And it flipped later in the session. I want to say like around 11 o'clock, which is that 2 p.m. turnaround time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those short-term sellers are taking advantage.
Yeah,
We're
and
just down so much. It's probably a lot of fear still.
yeah. Who would have thought we would go that as low as it's gone?
Yeah.
Definitely broke the weekly structure and then just kept going. I mean, oof. I'm just gonna pull that in so we can see that. It's ugly. Let's see here. Yeah, so there's the weekly structure. These blue lines coming up, and then kind of double, triple topped, and then boom, it dropped off. I would want to see it protect 52.20, this previous low, before I'd get really worried.
Yeah. 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 Definitely doesn't look good.
I mean, we had this big dip here, and then we definitely broke structure here. So it's not like unheard of for it to break structure, and definitely was due for a pullback. I
Yeah.
I feel like we've had a good 2 years of just bullish uptrend with a few pullbacks, but we haven't had like a good retracement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that once it retraces and we get that sell off and it flips back around, I think it'll be actually better trading conditions. But in the meantime, yeah, it's looking bearish. I mean, on the weekly, look at those 1, 2, 3, 4 weekly candles, all red. Haven't had that in a
Yeah.
long time. Jeez,
Yeah. Absolutely.
that's going back to like 2023 was the last time we had more than 4 weeks in a row. Interesting. Let's see. Is there anything that you wanted to like discuss particularly? Did you have any videos or screen shares that you wanted to add?
No, I haven't been saving recordings. I mean, I still save my daily ones, but I haven't read
Gotcha.
any. Um, yeah, no, just talk markets. See, it's been a while since we talked about like what you were trading. I guess I was kind of curious how the scalping was going.
Oh, yeah. So a couple things. I for the longest time I was in this mindset that I wanted to separate out and not watch Bookmap anymore and just focus solely on Jigsaw. And my trading suffered during that period. And it was also around the time I started working 7 days a week. My trading started going downhill, and I was, I've conveyed to you, I'm really struggling like the last 8 months. I met this other trader recently. My stepsister had mentioned him several times. She's like, yeah, he lives in Colorado, and I think he does what you do. And I just kept putting it off because, out of fear that, I didn't necessarily, what we do is so specialized, right? Like I didn't necessarily want to meet someone who's trading stocks or just options and try to discuss prop firms and this and that. Anyway, this guy, Ed, finally I reached out to him, and turns out he trades Apex, trades ES futures every day, and really, really cool guy. Has his own Discord and has his own method and whatnot. But I told him what was going on with me, and he said, "Well, are you?" He asked me this question: "Are you red, all the time, or are you yo-yoing?" I said, "I'm yo-yoing. I go on these green streaks, and then I, go on these like small red streaks in terms of the days, but sometimes it kills my account." And he's like, "Yeah, it sounds to me like you're over leveraged." And so, I took that to heart, and lately I've been just sticking to one mini, and it's really changed things. I passed an eval in like 3 days last week, and it's been pretty, it's been increasing steadily. Despite I did max out a couple times, but the max loss risk parameters kept me in the account. And this is something I wanted to mention to you was I noticed the last couple times that you passed an eval, and also the last couple times that you got up into the payment range past your drawdown and stuff, I noticed you had switched to using the micros, MES instead of ES.
Yeah.
And this guy Ed, same thing. He only trades MES, and I think he only trades like up to 3 to 5 contracts. So he's not really trading full size. So it got me thinking: am I the only one that's trying to trade Apex with a full size mini? I don't know, but if things start to go south for me, I may switch to the micros for a bit and see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean my full size is 10 micros, so it's the same as you, but
Yeah.
I do it so that I can scale.
So you scale into it instead of just dropping 10 at once.
Yeah, well, usually I enter all at once, but then I'll scale out, and I just find it helps my mindset. If I can take a little bit off, then I won't worry so much. I can let the rest go.
I got you. So you're actually starting full size and then scaling out, so that once you've made some profits, you take some profits off the table, and then you're not risking everything at that point.
Yeah, I'm not stressing out about it coming back. So I'm getting better at it. Holding for longer was such a big problem for me for a long time, and this has helped to get bigger moves.
Yeah, that's cool. That's something I've been working on too. This guy Ed, he has this method that uses the ATR trailing stop, and that's what these little dots are. And basically, when they, when a candle dips beyond whatever you have it set to, I have this. I think it's set to 2 periods. So if you get a full size candle below the last 2 candles, or it's outside the ATR range, it flips, and you'll start to get like a pink dots instead.
Oh, okay.
And it's a way to kind of stay in a trade when price is trending. And what I've noticed is sometimes it goes horizontal. Like you can see these kind of horizontal rows in here,
Right.
and that's usually during a consolidation. And I personally, as much as I've been scalping lately, I would probably exit there rather than just looking to see if the dot stays pink and then kind of holding. But it does this interesting thing. You can see like right here at the bottom, when it flips from pink to green, it'll usually give out like 12 to 24 ticks on that next candle. So you could just play the flip, as a scalper. So that's something I've been kind of messing around with. But obviously you could also have held through all these. My issue with just holding is some of these drops are like 10 points. And, I'm not willing to give up 10 points just for the sake of a trend. I mean, I'd be happy with 10 points and just exiting. So that's kind of been my thinking on that.
It's always a really tough call.
Yeah.
It really is.
But you can see today, had you gotten in around 56.09, you could have ridden that all the way down to, 55, 58, like 40 points. That would have been pretty amazing. And I think that's something I'd like to experiment more with micros than minis. But just to kind of circle back to what I was saying about Bookmap. So the issue I was having was I was getting a bit of lag running NinjaTrader, Bookmap, and Jigsaw all at once on my computer. And some days it works and some days I get lag, and it's usually something to do with like needing an update. But, it always hits you right in the thick of things when price starts taking off and all of a sudden the computer doesn't work. So I've been trying to just have Jigsaw on the one computer, and I had this great big monitor on a second computer, and I was like, you know what, why don't I throw Bookmap up on the second monitor and just watch it and see if it helps. And sure enough, totally made a big difference. I'm just going to go over a couple of things. So in my eye line, I have this 2-minute chart with the ATR trail, and right now, because I'm scalping, I'm not really following the dots as much, but below that, this volume is actually the open interest. So you can see as price is going up, the open interest is actually draining off. So that could imply a turnaround at the next swing high. I don't know. It's possible. I've got the Vold down here, the market breadth. So this is something I noticed yesterday. Notice how the NYSE's red, NASDAQ's green, ARCA's green. Yesterday, NASDAQ was totally green, and the other three were red. So NASDAQ was signaling that big reversal that we got. So that was kind of interesting. So now we've got a little slightly different instance today where the NYSE's red, the other three are green. So does NYSE know something, or is NYSE going to eventually catch up and turn green? That's just something I'd like to keep an eye on. I got down here at the bottom, got the VIX. You can see the VIX is at 25. I think we're at 28 yesterday, so it's come down a little bit. And then
it's been crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Order book is so thin.
What size stop loss are you running?
It's different every time. So I'm using lows as stops, or below lows, slightly below lows. So I just try to enter so that it's not too crazy. Something like 15 ticks.
Okay, cool. You know what? Just are you able to turn down your audio just a little bit? If it's not too much trouble.
Let me see. See the disable button. I don't see
That's okay.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. Should be fine. Okay, so a couple other things on Bookmap. I got rid of the volume dots and just moved back into candles on the heat map, and I'm just really watching this small area, and it does allow me to see the liquidity levels and use the heat map. On the current order book, which is the COB column, these white lines symbolize, the biggest player inside that. There's 460 lots, 480 lots, but of that, like 400 is one guy. So that's something, you want to pay attention to. I'm watching the order book, and generally when the book goes red, price goes up, especially if you get buy volume to support. So you can see right now it looks like it's in an upturn. One of the things that I've noticed with all of this volatility on the DOM itself, liquidity's been really low. Like there's 100 lot right here at 56.10. There's not really any 100 lots below that. I mean, there's a 95 there, which is big, 79. I've been seeing, having days looking at Jigsaw where it's just like 20, 30 lots on the DOM, and price is just whipping through that because there's like no resistance, there's no support, and they can just, the market makers or whoever can just whip through those prices. So it's actually nice to see a couple hundred lots, or at least a 94 lot. There was a period where I wouldn't even trade if there wasn't, several hundred lots on the DOM because, price would just wick me out constantly. And that's kind of what happened earlier. Now, if I slide over and I'm looking at the CQC columns here, this shows me that there's a lot of open interest. So why is there, 280 buyers that are trying to get in and only 30 lots on the DOM? Do you know what I mean? Like yesterday I was looking at it and there was like 1,000 something in the quotes counter. And then you look over at the DOM and there's like 20 lots. So like why, is that just manipulation? They're just, well, that's nice that, we could pull from these orders. We're not going to use those right now. We're just going to whip price back and forth. It's just something I'm paying attention to. I don't necessarily have an answer for you on that. But it is interesting when you notice there is all this open interest here and yet the DOM is so light. That's odd to me. Or that implies, spiky, wicky volatility.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Also switched over to using the tick counter in Thinkorswim, and I've really been paying attention to Ticky, which is the Dow. And so you see how it just flipped from -10 to 2. It runs a little bit ahead of the other two, the Tick Q and the Tick SP.
Okay.
You notice, look how bullish the NASDAQ is, 657 ticks right now. S&P is falling behind, and then Dow is, it's creeping upwards. This thing will get into like 10, 16, 20. It's a lower liquidity market, so it doesn't, it's not as, there's a -18, right? Which is like, it was like really bearish at -18 compared to like -281 for Tick Q. But, I've just been following that. Like there, it flipped to 4. So it's actually kind of flipping the other way, despite what the other two are doing. So, I just keep my eye on that. I like to see all three of them in sync before I make a move.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I was using the NinjaTrader version before with kinetic data. And so it took a little practice to start using this one on Thinkorswim. But there's one kind of technique that's just been really great for me lately, and I want to share this with you. Where did we go? So let's open this up. One of the things I've noticed.
One second, 30
Oh yeah,
seconds.
yeah. Man, price is just running.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. So one of the things I noticed, especially in a range market, price goes up and it comes back down, and it goes up and it comes back down, and I think we're sort of taught almost to trade the trend and to kind of buy these tops, and they usually pull back on us, and then we're taught to just kind of have a loose stop loss and hope for the best. And I've really been thinking about, is there some way to spot where these are going to pull back to? And I found this just lately. I've been looking for the imbalances within the candle. So, and I find it easier sometimes to look at the point and figure chart, but I do this on the regular trading view chart as well with candlesticks. But basically, you've got this wide range candle here, and it's untested. So it broke out, right there. and then we get another one, get a little pullback, and then when price turns around, where's it going to go to? Well, this little zone right here is untested, so it totally makes sense that there's liquidity there. Totally makes sense that it would pull back to that level, and you can see it did, to the tick. There may have even been a wick on the other chart. Okay, so once we get this big drop, now we've got a big wide range candle here. There's an imbalance there. So if price turns around, it's likely going to fill that. It's likely going to fill up to that, previous bearish order block. It's exactly what it did. It whipped through. So then you get this wide range candle. That's an imbalance. So when it falls off, where's it going to go? It's going to go back into this range. We know that's a bullish order block there. And so what I do is when I get a candle like this, I pull up the footprint chart and I look and see if is there any imbalances showing on the footprint chart.
Okay.
And if there are, I just anticipate that reversal and I scalp it. Boom.
That's cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Do you have a footprint you can show?
I wish I did. I don't have Jigsaw turned on right now. I was gonna have that put that up, but yeah, I don't have that on.
I was also curious, what's your thin blue line? Is that just EMA?
Yeah, this guy right here, I think it's a 21 EMA.
Okay.
And I don't really trade the EMAs that much, but lately I've been just having one on the chart just to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Okay.
If price gets really above or below it, it's good to know that before you enter a trade.
Yeah, I started using Bollinger's recently.
Yeah. How's that going for you?
I've been liking it. I really like it. Price seems to respond to the edges of it. Yeah, I like it. I took the EMAs off as well because I hadn't been using them for a while. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Oops, just pulling this trading view. And see if I can find you
anything.
anything.
Get that full round trip.
Yeah, we're getting close. So like in here, you notice the wicks are connecting. There's no empty space. Like this candle has a big wick through it. So that imbalance right there was already tested by the following candle. There's not like a big space in here. This one you can see created an imbalance and it tested almost 30% into it via that wick. And this is kind of like in a trend type behavior. It's kind of common for each candle to kind of fill in the previous candle. Oh, we're getting some feedback here. I don't know. Can you hear that?
No, it sounds clear to me. My end.
Yeah, I'm getting some crazy feedback. So, hang on 1 second here. Sorry. Jeez. Yeah, I've got some kind of loose wire or something going on. Shoot. Maybe just have too many programs open here. I don't know.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Well, I'm hoping it's just coming through okay on the recording, but on my end, it's
Yeah.
just like, oof. Test, test, test. Okay, well, unfortunately, I've got some technical difficulties going on here. I'm going to have to cut it short. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I think we covered some ground. And let me check out the video and see how the audio turned out.
Uh, yeah, sounds good. Yeah,
All
good
right.
talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you too.